Well, one of the things that we will be doing throughout the off season is staying connected. It's the big deal. A's Cast and A's Cast Live have always been a big deal because it covers the A's and gives you A's coverage like the organization has never had before. But as I've always said, the problem in the past was from the last out to the first pitch of the next season, A's baseball went dark. You didn't hear anything. I mean, there would be random hot stove league shows that I tried to do, but no, that's what A's Cast Live and A's Cast give you is coverage 365, 24/7, so we never go away. You will have A's baseball throughout the year. So when you say, I want to hear some Ken Korach, I haven't heard Ken in weeks and months. Well, that's not true because Ken Korach joins us on A's Cast Live throughout the offseason. How are you, my friend?
That's quite a build up there, Tony. Thanks, man. How you doing?
Well, that's what we try and tell people. It's like, we're very, as important as we are during the season, I think A's Cast and A's Cast Live are more important even in the off season. It just shows that our brand and who we are never goes away.
It's something I've always felt really strongly about, Chris, even when we didn't have it. So I think it's all the more important to have it now and kind of embrace the fact that we have A's Talk all year round.
Well, and the thing too now is we get to sit back, we get to take a deep breath, but now it's like time to go to work. It's about building the 2023 Oakland Athletics and how is this team going to compete on a daily basis. And this is kind of the fun thing about the offseason is you just start to see the moves that are made. You see what the other teams do. We now get to see how the whole thing's built. And we're having our first real offseason since 2019. No COVID, no lockout. It's very refreshing.
General managers meetings are coming up too, right, Chris? So there'll be things to talk about before you know it. You'll have the winter meetings and a little hiatus for the holidays, but then things will kick in January, and that's when it's kind of a sprint until spring training starts, and it happens quickly, doesn't it?
I got to think, what is it like when you enter the offices? Everybody's got to be like, oh, my God, the star is here. I mean, like when the big star rolls in out of nowhere, what is that like? I mean, they throwing rose petals? Is there red carpet? What happens?
I'm bummed that the red carpet, maybe it was they were laundering the red carpet today or something, Chris. But no, it's kind of cool to be here in the A's Cast studios at the A's offices at Jack London Square. So I know you and the commander worked pretty hard to put all this together. So, yeah, it's fun being over here today. Had a couple of meetings here, and it's all good.
What are you most looking forward to this offseason?
Personally, or as far as the ball club is concerned?
The ball club. You can give us personally. It's probably to shoot in the 60s, but
I think that the offseason is always intriguing because you want to know what your ball club is going to look like next year. So I know the A's felt a little handcuffed last year, Chris, because of the lockout. And I know Billy and David talked about that maybe there might have been some moves that they had contemplated that they weren't able to come up with because of the freeze on transactions. So, I'm hopeful that the ball club improves and that perhaps there are some acquisitions they can make, Chris, that can help the club. And then that combined with the young players who we got a long look at this year, that they can take the next step. So the offseason, the hot stove is always a fun time.
Yeah, I already started getting ready for it, and you start to look at, okay, we're not going to have to worry about free agents and all that kind of stuff. But the one thing that I think as of right now we can hang our hat on is that there's going to be a lot of pitching. There's going to be a lot of young pitching. There's going to be a lot of starting pitching. So would you agree for any type of excitement for 2023, that's where we start?
Well, yeah, it's a good place to start. And they should be good from that standpoint, Chris. Those guys are all coming back. We would think they would all come back. And then I hope the bullpen guys come back healthy because by the end of the year, and I think in talking to Scott Emerson with, at least 3 or 4 of his main relievers finished the year on the IL, as you know, Chris. And he talked, a lot of it may have been more fatigue than really being seriously hurt. So my sense is those guys will come back and they'll be fine for spring training because they just actually built a pretty good bullpen last year. I think they got a little tired at the end of the season, so the productivity diminished, and those guys, Jimenez and those guys, Sam Maul and Zach Jackson, spent the end of the year on the IL. So my hope would be that they can come back healthy next year.
So obviously you get a lot of time to speak with the manager. You travel with them. You talk to them every single series. Well, now that you've had time to think about it, what'd you think of the first year of Mark Kotsay?
I thought he did a great job. It was a tough situation for him, as you know, Chris, and we've talked about it. That first of all, being a rookie manager is tough enough, and then you deal with how compressed the spring was because of the lockout, the delayed start to the season. That's tough. That was tough for even the veteran managers. And then you trade your big guns too during the spring, and guys are coming and going, and guys are landing at the airport, heading out to the ballpark in Mesa, and he's meeting a lot of these young guys for the first time after the trade. So I thought he handled that really well. And like I said, that would have been tough for any manager, even a veteran manager. And I think Mark and the coaching staff as well, Chris, and I mean this in the most positive way, that even at the end of the year when they had lost 100 games, you wouldn't have known it by the way they went about their business every day. So I think, and that was the most important thing and the most impressive thing, was that they kept their enthusiasm all year. And it was different from that standpoint because there was more teaching. It's so many young players. There was more teaching, I thought, this year than we had seen certainly in past years with the A's.
Yeah, so with that, we're going to do a test. You need right now to name all 64 players, and if you can name their numbers too, we'll give you $10 million.
Exactly.
I mean,
right?
great.
And all of the guys that made their debuts and the rookies and first major league appearances, and there were some highlights. Langoliers got a double in his first major league at bat, right? And
Texas, yeah.
Yeah, homered to right center in his second big league game. So there were some highlights for sure. So, and like everybody, I think I was riveted. I thought the postseason was great. World Series was a lot of fun. Thrilled for Dusty. Not that I'm not sure that he needed it, but it certainly solidified his Hall of Fame candidacy. I'm sure you agree. So I was really, really happy for Dusty.
I think about Dusty. I think about Rob Thompson. I think about Bob Melvin, Snitker, Showalter. We talked about this earlier in the show, and you've dealt with so many different managers. You've dealt with managers at the big league level. You've dealt with managers at the minor league level. And I'm sure you've got your sniff test, whether when you're interviewing a guy on a daily basis, whether you think this guy is good or not. But we're starting to see that transition in baseball to kind of go back to the guy that's got maturity, the guy that's got knowledge, the guy that's got experience, the guy that's got compassion, the guy that's lived a little bit, that really knows how to control and help the players beyond the data, the X's and O's, that really can be somebody that you can go to with a lot of different things. What are you seeing in the game of baseball when we're now just not all looking for guys who can read data?
I hope so, Chris. We're also coming out of Joe Madden being fired by the Angels, too. And some of that at least revolved around the dissonance that had developed between the front office and Joe as the skipper. There has to be a blending of those things. I'm sure you agree. And I think even the old school managers embrace getting data, but a big league manager also has to have his authority in the clubhouse and his respect in the clubhouse too, and the ability to make decisions during the game. So hopefully we can bridge that, and that the older managers, and obviously, Dusty, the oldest ever to win a World Series, that those guys don't become obsolete.
Just talk about the relationship that, and you don't have to go into any specifics, but just the relationship that you have with the manager that is beyond just you putting the microphone in front of them, because you do get a lot of one-on-one time and you get to learn a lot about the man.
Well, you want to know what's going on with your club, right, Chris? And there are times when maybe you might find some You might get some off the record kind of information that might be helpful if a certain situation might arise. You might be able to use it, and I think that our job is to be the conduit between the manager, the coaches, the players, and the fans. So to have the kind of relationship that we've had this over the years with the managers here with the A's, Chris, is really important because after all, for us, it's about information and delivering that information to the fans. And the other thing is, I'm trying to learn. I think we're trying to learn every day. There's still situations that come up during a game where I'll go to Kotsay or his predecessor to Bo Mill, explain what you were thinking there, or what was involved in that decision, or explain why that play worked, or why a player did what he did in a situation. So I kind of look at all that as having this like reservoir of information, Chris, that you gain over all these years.
So off season, any
Yeah.
trips planned? I mean, what are the Korachs doing during the holidays?
That's a great question. Our daughter's in Denver, so I think there's a decent chance we'll go out and see her again for Thanksgiving. And as you know, my dad is still around. He's 103, and on my way up here to the Bay Area, stopped down in LA and had dinner with him on Thursday night. So that's a big priority right now, to spend as much time as I can with him. And then, obviously there's going to be some golf in there somewhere.
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know where I read it, but it was like, all right, 100 days till pitchers and catchers report.
Right,
And I went, 100 days? That just doesn't seem like a long time.
No, I think you want to savor the off season too, Chris.
Right? I was like, I've just started getting comfortable waking up. I don't have to shave. I don't have to, I can just put on my golf clothes and go play golf. I'm kind of enjoying a little bit of it. No, I don't have to do any NFL stuff. I'm kind of, and then all of a sudden I read that 100 days. I'm like, wow, that's going to be here before you know it.
It's nice to be irresponsible for a while, right? Just
right? Yes.
That aside, because we're really responsible during this season. We have places we have to be at particular times of the day. I always try to find a project or two to work on too, Chris. So,
well, here's something I'll tell you.
It's a fun part of the off season as well.
I'll tell you this, in our line of work, there is no being late. You can't be late. The show starts, like we start A's Cast Live every day, home games at 4:00. It's going on at 4:00. I'm then I got to rush up to the press box to do A's Total Access, and then I'm throwing it to you, and then the game's going to start with or without the. That's funny thing. They're not going to say, "Hey, where's Korach?" We're not going to throw out first pitch. No, the game's going.
That's one of the things you learn about baseball, and I would assume, maybe any walk of life when you're trying to be on time, is that they're not going to wait for you, right? Like if the team bus is leaving the hotel for the ballpark at 3:00 and I'm not on it, Mickey Morabito is not waiting for me, right? You better be there. If you're not there 5 minutes before 3, you're late. So you learn to be on time in this business, right?
Yeah, you're looking around and you're looking at the team bus. You're making sure the players are there. They're not really worried about the broadcasters. You don't matter whether we win or lose.
Stay out of the training room. That's another thing I learned a long time ago. The trainers don't want to see you, and be on time, right? And the commander is here. I'm thrilled to share this little space with the commander.
Yeah, people get to see the inner workings of how we make A's Cast and A's Cast Live work. And the way I led this off, and we'll end on this, it does mean a lot. It means a lot that you don't go away. I don't go away. Mark Kotsay doesn't go away. David Force, we're going to see everybody at the winter meetings in San Diego. We'll be there. We're going to be at fantasy camp, and we'll be at spring training. A's baseball doesn't go away. It's 365, and thank you for always being there for us, because I know you know how important that message is.
The other thing that you guys do, which is great, is you don't just talk about the A's. You talk about baseball. So if people want to get their baseball fix, they can get it on A's Cast. And I think that's a thing, because you and the commander have relationships with so many of the national people that you can get them on just by, flipping through the commander's Rolodex. And I think that's something I've really enjoyed in the off season, It's finding out about the other ball clubs too and what's going on around the game. So that's another thing that you guys do really well.
We're going to have our buddy Jeff Blum on, who's just going to be done doing the parade in Houston.
I know. Cal Bears. Go Bears. Bears are playing tonight, right? Bears have a basketball game tonight.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Yeah, Roxy's doing the game on Pac-12 Network.
Oh, my God. I get it's November 7th. College basketball starting?
They're playing Davis, aren't they, Commander? I'm not sure. I think they're playing Davis tonight.
When's the Maui Invitational?
I've done the Maui Invitational, by the way. I have. It's great. Man, was that fun. Right before Thanksgiving.
All right, my friend, be well and keep that phone on. We're going to be calling you.
Okay, buddy. Thanks.